Good evening, welcome. Thank you for joining us. This is the Marion City Council meeting for Thursday, April 23rd. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. Roll call, please.
Mr. Miskman,
Here.
Mr. Uniman, Mr. Jensen,
Here.
Mayor Abu-Asali,
Present.
Mr. Brandt, Ms. Menser, here, Mr. Harper.
Here. Thank you. This time we have a moment of silence. Thank you. First item on the agenda this evening is a proclamation for National Library Week. I've asked Councilmember Ms. Skimmon to present that, and we have our Library Director, Phil Carroll, to accept it.
Yeah, this is a good one, National Library Week. Whereas libraries spark creativity, fuel imagination, and inspire lifelong learning, offering a space where individuals of all ages can find joy through exploration and discovery. And whereas libraries serve as vibrant community hubs, connecting people with knowledge, technology, and resources while fostering civic engagement, critical thinking, and cultural enrichment. And whereas libraries provide free and equitable access to books, digital tools, and innovative programming, ensuring that all individuals, regardless of background, have the support they need to learn, connect, and thrive. And whereas libraries partner with schools, businesses, and organizations to maximize resources, increase efficiency, and expand access to essential services, strengthening the entire community. And whereas libraries empower job seekers, entrepreneurs, lifelong learners by providing access to resources, training, and opportunities that support career growth and economic success. And whereas libraries nurture young minds through story times, STEAM programs, and literacy initiatives, fostering curiosity and a love of learning that lasts a lifetime. And whereas libraries protect the right to read, think, and explore without censorship, standing as champions of intellectual freedom and free expression. And whereas dedicated librarians and library workers provide welcoming spaces that inspire discovery, collaboration, and creativity for all. And whereas libraries, librarians, and library workers across the country are joining together to celebrate National Library Week under the theme, Find Your Joy. Now, therefore, I, Gage Miskimon, on behalf of Nicholas Abu-Asali, Mayor of the City of Marion, Iowa, do hereby proclaim the week of April 19th through the 25th, 2026 as National Library Week. In the City of Marion, Iowa, encourage all residents to visit their library, explore its resources, and celebrate all the ways that the library helps our community find joy. Would you like to say a few words, Bill?
On behalf of the Library Board of Trustees, staff and volunteers, thank you very much for celebrating the library. And we encourage all of our residents to come visit our wonderful library next door. Thank you. Thanks.
Next item is a proclamation for Arbor Day, April 24th, 2026. And Councilmember Menser is going to read that one. And I think, is Brent, are you accepting it? Okay. Brent Neighbor will be accepting that.
Well, I have a good one too. I get to read. Not competitive. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for planting of trees. And whereas this holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and whereas trees can reduce the erosion of topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas since the 2020 derecho reduced Marion's tree canopy by an estimated 45%, Marion's Urban Forestry Division has planted more than 10,000 trees on public land and participated in programs that have resulted in the planting of thousands more trees on private property. And whereas Marion is well known for its tree-lined streets and parks and has been recognized as a Tree City USA community, and whereas Arbor Day activities have been carried out all over the United States since 1872 for promoting efforts to plant and maintain trees for their many benefits. Now, therefore, I, Sarah Menser, on behalf of Nicholas Abuasley, Mayor of the City of Marion, Iowa, do hereby proclaim Friday, April 24th, 2026 as Arbor Day in the City of Marion and urge all residents to support efforts to care for our trees and woodlands and support tree planting efforts and encourage residents to plant trees for present and future generations.
I want to thank you. And then if you can join us Saturday, May 9th at Thomas Park from noon to 3, we're going to be celebrating Arbor Day along with Migratory Bird Day. So please join us.
Thank you. All right, moving on to our first public forum. We have two public forums on the agenda. The first one is for all items that are on the agenda but not part of a public hearing. If anyone's here to address the council on any topic that is listed on the agenda but are not associated with a public hearing, this would be the time to address council. All other items are either handled in the public hearing. There'll be time in a public hearing to make comments. Otherwise, there'll be another public forum at the end of the meeting. All public forums have the same rules of procedure that I'll review at this time. Anyone wishing to address the council should complete the yellow card that is at the end of the table and hand it to the city clerk before addressing the city council. Please do not approach the dais where the council is sitting. If you have handouts, submit them to the city clerk for distribution to the city council. Please step to the podium and speak into the microphone as the meeting is recorded. You're encouraged to state your name and any group affiliation. Please understand that everyone is allowed 5 minutes maximum to make comments. Please do not engage in conduct or speech that is imminently threatening to any person or which incites violence or which is obscene. Please avoid repeating comments made by prior speakers. Please do not engage in conduct that disrupts the orderly progress of the meeting or engage in speech or conduct which interferes with the other people's ability to participate in the meeting. And failure to adhere to these guidelines or engaging in disruptive speech or behavior will, after a warning, result in removal from the meeting. Appreciate everyone's cooperation in adhering to these guidelines. So at this time, the public forum is open. If anyone's here to address the city council on any topic that is listed on the agenda, but not part of a public hearing, please come forward. Okay, seeing no one is coming forward, we'll close this part of the meeting and proceed to the consent agenda.
Yes, Your Honor. I move to approve the consent agenda as follows. Items A1 through F1, resolutions 32802 through 32813.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda as presented. Items A1 through F1, resolutions 32802 through 32813. Discussion? All those in favor of approving the consent agenda as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. The motion is approved. For the next section, I will turn over the meeting to the Mayor Pro Tem.
Mayor Pro Tem, I move to approve the consent agenda with the mayor's abstention as follows. Items B1 through E1, resolutions 32814 through 32817.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda with Mayor Abu Asali's abstention. Items B1 to E1, resolution numbers 32814 to 32817. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. The consent agenda is approved with one abstention. Back to the mayor.
Thank you. Next item is a public hearing on the proposed fiscal year 2027 budget. We have a presentation. Brian?
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Yes, so this is a public hearing for the proposed fiscal year 27 budget. So our budget process starts way back in July when the previous fiscal year just starts. So this is it's a series of discussions with staff, with City Council, and kind of when you total all this up, there's been about 12 touch points with Council since the start of this process. So we hope that everyone feels that this is an engaging process. So this leads up to the budget work session we did in January, and then with the property tax levy hearing in March, and then working towards this public hearing tonight. So just as a reminder, we are stewards of taxpayers' dollars. We utilize zero-based budgeting, which means that every department starts at zero and they have to justify every expense. We have been analyzing position vacancies along with department restructuring. Our fines and fees have been reviewed. So that's just to name a few things that we've been working on throughout this budget process. So just kind of the highlights here, because we have touched on a lot, and as I'll say later in the presentation, where people can gain more information on this budget. So these are some high-level numbers. So this is across all funds. So total expenditures there of just over 141 million, with revenues of just under 136 million. With the general fund, the kind of main operating fund of the city, this is including transfers to equipment replacement of a budget of just over 40 million. This is an increase of, in the general fund, this is an increase of about 19% from last year. However, this change is not all new spending by any means. It does reflect accounting reallocations that was recommended through the city's cost allocation process. So just a quick summary of what that means for people who are maybe joining us for the first time tonight. This actually, mostly it was with public works and our internal services departments. So like IT, finance, city manager's office, legal. So we did centralize a lot of those costs within the general fund. And so what this does is it makes it a lot easier for our departments to administratively manage their budgets because it's all in one place. But those costs with our road use fund and our other utility funds, because with internal services, we support all of those funds and those departments. So we want to make sure that those costs are allocated correctly. And so we do this cost allocation process, and then through transfers from those other funds, that's what makes the general fund whole for those. So that's just a quick summary of that. Some other major budget drivers this year. In the fiscal year 27 budget, we do have 2 communication operators to fund in dispatch and a management analyst for police. And then there's a communication specialist also, which is proposed to be funded out of hotel motel. And then technology is always one of those increasing factors in a budget. And then our asset replacement transfer is still at $2 million. So we make sure that we're maintaining and looking after our existing infrastructure. So the levy on this slide, so the next few slides, some people may have seen this before as we've gone through this process this year, but I did want to briefly cover again for those seeing this for the first time. So just high level, this is the city of Marion's property tax levy. And so that makes up about 37% of a resident's property tax bill. So not their whole property tax bill, so we're about just over a third of that. So a quick high-level summary, the general fund levy has decreased, our employee benefits levy has increased slightly, and our debt service levy has decreased. That's partly due to the strategic decision not to bond for our fiscal year 27 capital projects. And so then that overall is resulting in a decrease from fiscal year 26 of the city of Marion's property tax levy of just over 35 cents. So just to compare to our comparable cities here, you can see that we fall right there, kind of with our with kind of the metro area here that you can see like Cedar Rapids, and then you got kind of the Des Moines metro area kind of more over to the left. So then what does this mean? So for our residents' property tax, so we kind of do these comparisons when we're looking at the factors like the rollback, how that affects the property tax. So this is for residential. And so this is assuming that your valuation did not change. We'll get into that in a moment. So if your assessed valuation stayed the same on a $300,000 home, the resident would expect that their property taxes for the city of Marion's portion to go down by $176. And then on the commercial side, assuming a $1 million valuation that did stay the same, that the annual change would be $357 decrease. So with this being a reassessment year by the county, so we like to show these two charts. So the first slide really shows the impact of the rollback. And so this is showing that if your taxable value stayed the same, then your assessed valuation would have had to go up by 6.5%. And then the second table, maybe one of the most valuable ones, given that this is a reassessment year, that for your property taxes, again, the city of Marion's portion, to have stayed the same from the previous year, your assessed value of your home would have had to gone up by just over 9%. So that was kind of high level tonight. So we do recommend the adoption of the fiscal year 27 budget. And if there's any questions from you, I'm happy to do that.
So we'll come back to the questions when we make the motion for the resolution. And at this time, thank you, Brian. At this time, the public hearing is open. If anyone is here to address the council on this topic, please come forward. While we're waiting, we'll ask the city staff if we received comments outside the meeting.
I have not received any.
I'm not.
Okay. Thank you, Brian. Hopefully the residents are happy that we're adopting a budget that reduces taxes by 35 cents per thousand. Anyone here to address council on this topic, please come forward. Okay, we will close the public hearing and proceed to the motion, and then we'll take questions for Brian or comments.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution number 32818, approving the fiscal year 2026-2027 budget.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 32818, approving the fiscal year 2026-2027 budget. Now, discussion, questions? Anyone? Okay, Brian's done a great job and staff has done a great job of walking us through this over the last several months, and really appreciate all the work that's gone into it by everyone. And I think this is a great result of a really good process that we go through. Anyone else have anything? Okay, we'll vote. All those in favor of approving resolution number 3218, adopting the proposed budget for 2026-2027, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The motion is approved. Thank you. The next item is a public hearing on the fiscal year 2027-2031 capital improvements program. So we have another presentation from Brian, and then we'll have the public hearing.
Thank you. So then, as we just talked about the fiscal year 27 budget, the capital improvement program is a key piece of that integrated in. So we've had some of the touch points have been regarding the CIP. And so we go through a very rigorous CIP process and a prioritization process with the staff. Again, many touch points with council, as you can see on the screen here. Lots of chances to incorporate feedback and all the analysis that we do leading up to the public hearing tonight. So just a reminder for everyone that included in the council packet tonight is a full list of all the CIP project sheets. There's a funding source breakdown by department for fiscal year 27, and then the full kind of summary CIP master plan there. So there's just been a couple of updates since the last touch point that I wanted to just make sure everyone is aware of. So the first one is there's no changes to the overall expenditures. This was just, we're switching some funding sources between these two sewer projects. The sewer portion of the Smithland Drive reconstruction just came in a little bit lower than we thought. So we're kind of moving that to the Silent Street Trunk Sewer project and then using local option sales tax in the Smithland Drive reconstruction project. So just switching two funding sources around, no increase in expenditures there between these two projects. And then the other one was kind of more of, as staff looked, more kind of an efficiency update here. So we're consolidating these two projects into one. So when we go out to bid, so again, no change in overall expenditures. This will just be combined into the one project. So then just some high level numbers for the CIP for the 5 years, just over 113 million for fiscal year 27, just over 21 million. And here is some of the projects with the highest expenditures in fiscal year 27. One certainly to celebrate, I think, is the Seymour Trail, the completion of the final phase that kind of links us with Cedar Rapids. So something really to celebrate there. And then just kind of a breakdown by category. So normally transportation is the highest, so no surprise there. So here's the breakdown of all our other categories within the CIP over the 5 years. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll hand it back over to Mayor.
Thank you. At this time, the public hearing is open. If anyone is here to address council on this topic, please come forward. We'll ask the staff if you've received comments outside the meeting.
I have not received any.
Brian, have you?
I have not.
Okay, thank you. Anyone here to address council on this topic, please come forward. Okay, we'll close the public hearing. Proceed to the motion.
Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 32819, approving the fiscal year 2027-2031 capital improvement program.
Second.
So we moved and seconded to approve resolution number 32819, approving the fiscal year 27 through 31 capital improvement program. Discussion? Questions for Brian?
Questions? Yeah, just one.
Go ahead, Grant.
Yeah, Brian, just to clarify, the $50,000 that was allocated in our current fiscal year for the fire station space needs assessment, that's rolled into a broader project at essentially the same cost in the next FY, correct?
Correct. Yep,
Okay.
it's just added on to that project. So
Okay,
no increase.
good. All right, thanks.
Anyone else? Again, excellent job in putting this together and walking us through it all. This is one way that we've really stepped up what we do over the last few years and getting this under control and being able to see where we're going and what we're doing and how it impacts everything. So thank you.
Okay.
You had something, go ahead.
I think one other thing we should note, you did not mention this time, and that is with this capital improvement plan budget for the next year, there will not be any general obligation bonds issued.
No.
Yeah.
So I think that's another point that the public also needs to be aware of.
Yes, there is no intention to bond for our fiscal year 27 projects.
For 27,
For 27, yes.
not the full 5 years. Yeah.
Yes, not
That is
the full
correct, just for
5 years, no.
27.
Not the full 5 years.
Okay. Anyone else? We'll vote. All those in favor of approving resolution number 32819, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Okay, the motion is approved. Next item is a public hearing regarding naming of the Marion Public Safety Training Center Tower. We have our fire chief presentation.
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Council. While the history and construction of this training center are important, they are truly overshadowed by the extraordinary legacy of service from Don and Mary Ruth DeVault. Don served the city of Marion as a volunteer firefighter for nearly 58 years, beginning in 1946, and also dedicated 22 years as a police volunteer. Upon their passing, the DeVaults left a remarkable gift of $900,000 to the Marion Firefighters Association. Through careful investment for over a decade, that grew to a total of $1.3 million, laying the foundation for what is now going to be a state-of-the-art public safety training center nearing completion this spring. Their decades of service and generosity have directly enhanced the safety of our community. Naming the tower, the DeVault Tower, is a fitting tribute, one that reflects a lifetime commitment to others and honors Marion's heritage. I have proposed the naming of the tower as the Marion Public Safety Training Center as the DeVault Tower. Per city policy, there's been a 30-day review period and tonight a public hearing to inform your collective decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, the public hearing is open. If anyone is here to address the council on this topic, please come forward. You're welcome to, sir. And then we would just ask after you make your comments, if you would fill out the card and give it to the clerk, that would be great.
Sure.
It's at the end of the table there. Okay, go ahead.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John Madland, and for 10 years, I had the honor of being Don and Mary Ruth DeVault's friend and also their executor. And I just want to reemphasize that how proud they would be at this moment that the funds that they donated were spent in such a responsible and useful way, but also that they are being memorialized in this way. So I just wanted to thank Chief Fagan, I believe Chief McBurney as well, and everyone else at Marion Fire that made this all happen and made it all possible. So thank you all so much for this honor for Don and Mary Ruth.
Thank you. Appreciate your comments. Anyone else to address council on this topic, please come forward. And we will ask the staff if we received comments outside the meeting.
Yes, we received one email in advance that was forwarded earlier. It was from Deb Kriebel, and she wrote in support of the proposed name.
Okay. Seeing no one else is coming forward, we will close the public hearing and proceed to the resolution.
Your Honor, it is my great honor to move to approve resolution number 32820, approving the naming of the Marion Public Safety Center Tower as the DeVault Tower.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the naming of the Marion Public Safety Training Center Tower as DeVault Tower. Discussion, questions? Yes.
Yeah, Chief, do we have a date yet on when this will be available for the public to visit and enjoy?
Not officially yet,
Okay.
no. No, we do have a bid opening right now for the construction of the monument and the final electrical piece, but we still do anticipate here this spring, by the end of the spring.
Okay.
We anticipate the ribbon cutting.
All right, very good.
I was going to ask about the ribbon cutting.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Sure.
Wonderful. Anyone else? Well, I would, on behalf of the city and our entire staff and all our residents, I would just reiterate how grateful we are for the gift and the impact it's going to make, not only on Marion and the safety in Marion, but in the entire region, all of the public safety departments that will be able to use it to improve what they do. So it's a wonderful gift and certainly humbling to receive that kind of generosity. And we are really grateful for it. So, okay, we'll take a vote. All those in favor of approving resolution number 32820, approving the naming of the Marion Public Safety Training Center Tower as DeVault Tower, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. And the motion is approved. I think that deserves applause.
Yeah.
We don't usually applaud like that, but I think that does deserve it. Don't get used to it. The next item is a public hearing on the 2026 sidewalk ramp project. We have Mike Barkalow with a presentation.
Yes, Your Honor. So this is our annual program where we go in and fix those ADA ramps that are not up to standards. So adding the domes, making sure that the proper slopes. This year, we will be replacing approximately 30 sidewalk ramps. The engineer's estimate was $166,371.50. The low bid came in from Midwest Concrete at $138,395.70, 83.2% of the engineer's estimate. Has an early and late start date, which means they have to start between those time periods. Completion of 55 working days, that's a Monday through Friday, when they can work on the controlling operation, and liquidated damages in the amount of $300 per day in liquidated damages. Just kind of give you an idea, those red dots are the locations of the ramps, so you can see they're spread out all over the city. And so we just have an inventory of those that are tripping hazards, or maybe they don't have domes at all. But there's a lot to fix. So this is just a small piece of the pie, but we are recommending proceeding with the project and the bids.
Thank you, Mike. The public hearing is now open. If anyone is here to address the council regarding the sidewalk ramp project, please come forward. We'll ask the staff if anyone's sending comments outside the meeting.
I have not received any comments.
We have not.
Okay, please note that for the record. We'll close the public hearing. Proceed to the motion.
Mayor, I move to approve the project calendar regarding the 2026 sidewalk ramp project as follows. Resolutions numbers 32821 and resolution number 32822.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to approve the project calendar for the 2026 sidewalk ramp project, including resolutions 32821 and 32822. Any discussion? Questions for Mike? Okay, all those in favor of approving the project calendar for 2026 sidewalk ramp project, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. The motion is approved.
Mayor, I move to approve ordinance number 26-06, approving of amendments to chapter 340-8.3, sign regulations of the Marion Code of Ordinances related to marquees and electronic message centers, and this is the second consideration.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve ordinance number 26-06, approving amendments to chapter 340-8.3 regarding sign regulations in the Marion Code of Ordinances related to the marquees and electronic message centers. Discussion. Okay, all those in favor of approving ordinance number 26-06, the second consideration, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. The motion is approved, and we will have one final consideration at the next meeting.
Mayor, I move to approve ordinance number 26-07, approving amendment to ordinance number 24-21 regarding the Marion Enterprise Center design guidelines for property generally located south of Highway 151 and east of 62nd Street, Marion, Iowa, Marion Economic Development Company, and this is a second consideration.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the second consideration of ordinance number 26-07, approving amendments to ordinance number 24-21 regarding the Marion Enterprise Center design guidelines. Discussion. All those in favor of approving ordinance number 26-07, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. The motion is approved. The next item is another public forum, which is a time to address the council on any topic. If anyone is here to address council, please come forward. Okay, seeing no one is coming forward, we'll close this part of the meeting. We'll proceed to council comments. Start with Councilmember Miskimen.
None for me tonight.
Steve.
None.
Sarah.
Well, I think we know what I'm going to bring up. Predictable. First, thank you to all of the Team Marion who was there for Healthy Kids Day and the Marion City Showcase. We lost last count, I should say we didn't lose count, but our last count had us over 1,100 attendees. That day, we handed over 700 bags of goodies to kids in the community. Everybody leaves with a bag and then multiple other prizes. I know they enjoyed seeing all the departments and all the things that were happening, and watching the interaction and how that's just grown exponentially is just awesome. So we heard from a lot of people how great it is to come to one location and just see all these things for Marion, and learn all the happenings, see some of the intricacies. So I want to thank everybody for being a part of that and all that you do, because I know it's a lot of extra work. And especially with parks, because you all are bringing in tables and hauling out tables and helping us set up. And a big shout out to Faith, who was our YMCA contact with the city, and she was just phenomenal in making sure everything ran smoothly. So we couldn't ask for better partnership.
All right.
Well, just to dovetail on Sarah's comments, I had some neighbors that attended with their small kids the showcase, and I saw them later on Saturday, and they just expressed how astounding it was. All of the equipment, all of the activity, just the energy, and that's what that event's made for. It made a lasting impression on that family, and I think again the kids will remember that experience for a very long time. So thank you.
Okay, I'll start my comments with that event. That's always one of our most fun days in Marion every year. It's really grown to be just a wonderful event, and it takes a lot to put it on. But when you see how happy everyone is, when you feel the community that's going on in that in that space. It's just, it just speaks to everything that we are doing. You see, I mean, over 700 young kids that show up, and they're all about 3 feet high. So it really makes you realize how many young families we have, and we are attracting. We've become a place that people want to come and raise their families and provide them with all the opportunities that Marion's offering. We met several families that had just moved to Marion, one from New York, one from Florida. And they were just very, very happy to be here, to be in Marion, and couldn't say enough good things. My only complaint is that city manager kept telling all the kids to find me and race me down the slide. So I raced a number of times down the slide. I lost every single time. But so I know there are pictures out there documenting it, but it was a lot of fun. Earlier today, I had the opportunity to do a condensed state of the city presentation to all the Skogman realtors. And that was a lot of fun. It's always fun to share the excitement and all the things that are happening in Marion to people who are promoting the community and selling homes here. So it's a great group, and I do that every year. Thanks to Will for setting that up. That went really well. Last week, I had the opportunity to, I was invited to a tea party at one of the Montessori school here in Marion. And that was a lot of fun to read to the kids and hang out with them for a little bit, have some tea and cookies. And I made a new friend, Asher, who went home and told his parents, the prince of the town came to our school today. So so
We're
he's
not gonna, we're
my
not
new
gonna
best
call you
friend.
that.
What's
I
that?
said, we're not gonna call you that.
No, that's okay.
Call you king.
That was funny. The other item I wanted to talk about was yes, on Tuesday I hosted a developer from Minneapolis, and they didn't know what to expect, and they were just floored by what they saw and what they heard about Marion. And at the end, they said, "You should just walk us right to a realtor's office so we can buy some property and do a project here." So I think we'll be hearing from them again. Kim, you probably have some more work to do. So I love generating the leads and then watching our team take off with it and make things happen. So it's a great partnership. With that, that brings us to the end of the meeting. Thank you, everyone, for all your hard work and for making Marion what it is. We'll see you next time.